you, my friend. Appreciate it.
Of course.
We're joined by Villanova head coach Denise Dillon. We'll have an opening statement followed by questions. For your questions, please state your name and affiliation before your question. Thank you. Coach.
Yeah, well, battle as expected. Congrats to Marquette. Really well-balanced, disciplined team, and knowing the third time we playing them, we're expecting a battle. So tough finish for us, for sure.
Questions for Coach right here in the front.
Hi, Coach. Brad Lake, WNBA Sawish. Can you speak more of Lucy Olsen's performance? She was making huge plays. She had 22 points, and how has her contributions made your team better all season?
Well, obviously, Lucy's impact this year is amazing. I mean, it's impressive what she's done from start to finish. And even today, knowing she was going to get their best defender, she's going to get the double teams, and continued just to play through and continue to battle. Yeah, we rely a lot on her, and she's willing to do everything and anything. So just excited for her growth, her progression, and I think she has a real bright future.
Pam in the back left.
Thanks. Hi, Coach. Pam Roker, Big East Digital Network. I heard you yelling a couple times to your team, pass and move. I wonder if you could kind of talk about two-part, maybe the 7 points Marquette held you to in the third quarter, and also that other balance in terms of production from other weapons besides Lucy.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, pass and move. And you play a continuity of five-out offense. Movement is key. Moving the ball, setting screens, keeping that spacing. And I felt, again, when you're uncertain of who that second, third scorer might be, the ball ends up in Lucy's hands or in Zanai's hands, and they're trying to create something. And it makes for a long game. You know, we just continue to try and ask them to keep that spacing, move the ball so we could get shots in the flow as opposed to trying to create them. Easier said than done when you're there on the sideline, emphasizing it when they're out on the floor, feeling that pressure and the presence. I thought Marquette did a great job of switching screens, so players didn't feel that they were able to make some of those passes. But you stick with the system, you continue to focus on that, and you know, down to the very end, you're going to work it.
Right here on the right.
Hi, Coach. Corey Jobman with Craytonian. Obviously, this loss leaves your fate as far as NCAA tournament in the balance. What do you tell your team, and then what is your final message to the committee, I guess, as well?
Yeah, it is tough. We knew this, every game is huge in the Big East, but it was interesting how it came down to us battling against Marquette in this one. You know, obviously I think Big East basketball is tremendous and a great battle, so it would be well represented in the tournament with multiple teams. So you just continue to look at the resume and think, again, some of the games that we have lost with a number of those teams going postseason. They're going to be in the NCAAs, and seeing that differential in scoring. All games were single possessions with some. So, yeah, as we just said to the team, like this is a tough one to swallow, and you want to continue to advance and put yourself in the best position possible. But we're going to rely on not being finished. We'll take a couple days and get back to practice on Tuesday.
Right here.
Yes, Coach. Being the third time that you've played them, was there anything different that you saw from them on either the offensive or defensive side that you didn't see in the first two games?
No, again, aware that they're trying to get the ball out of Lucy's hands, so doubling the ball screens, blowing up some of the handoffs. But offensively, I thought they did a nice job of taking advantage of mismatch and size advantage with some of that back screen. And then it wasn't even the initial. It was us being out of rebounding position. They work. They're relentless on the boards. They worked, and they got some putbacks. When you're out of position, you end up fouling. So, yeah, I thought they did a nice job taking advantage there. Playing their two bigs, typically we don't face that because we're able to take advantage on the offensive end with our spacing and movement. But today it played into their hands to take advantage of us.
Hey, Coach T. Baker with the Next. Obviously, you chose to honor Harry Peretta as your legend. Wonder if you could just talk a little bit about what he means to you personally and to the university.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you mentioned that, and I actually thought the event was yesterday, so I thought I was going to be able to attend, realizing it was this morning when we were at shoot-around. I missed it, but yeah, it's always great to celebrate Harry, who has done so much for women's basketball, for Villanova University, for our program, but me personally. I mean, he is the reason why I'm in this position, to have made the decision to go to Villanova to play for him and the development process. It's, what I take seriously each and every day when I'm working with our players, teaching the game, teaching them how to play, how it works, how to learn and grow within it, and then development. So I had a great opportunity to develop as a player my 4 years with him, and then an opportunity to coach with him. So getting yourself in the door is not easy in coaching, and to have been handed that opportunity at 22 was unique, and it's never wavered. Like his commitment to our program continuing to grow, and me as a professional in those efforts are greatly appreciated. And he's a great mentor, but a friend as well.
Question here on the right.
Coach, obviously, shots weren't falling, especially
No.
from deep today. How do you get your team to overcome that, especially from a mentality perspective when you're not seeing those shots go in?
Yeah, to be honest, we were just asking to take some 12, 15-foot jumpers. We weren't asking for the three, and that's an area of understanding. You got to recognize, try and get an easier look, and an easier look isn't a layup. A lot of times they think, oh, I got to get into the paint and draw. Nothing's wrong with the mid-range game. So, that's something I just want to emphasize with our team, my teams moving forward. You can't live and die at the three-point line, because I think more often than not you'll die out there. So just making those recognitions sooner than later. Continue just to be hopeful and be like, oh, it's knocking down. No, you got to feel it. So yeah, I would have liked to have seen some more 12, 15-foot jumpers as opposed to firing the threes.
Any other questions for Coach? Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Joining us from Marquette, head coach Megan Duffy, student athlete Liza Carlin. We'll begin with an opening statement from coach, followed by questions for student athletes first, then for coach.
What a game. I mean, I felt like the true definition of March Madness, just the closeness of the game, the back and forth efforts by both teams. You know, we had lost the first two games to Nova on some heartbreakers, different things in both games, and I know we were just so hungry to try and figure out how to beat them. I can't tell you how proud I am of just my team and their grit and their determination to find a way to win. I mean, Nova and us both like to score a little more than we do, than we did today, so just to figure out how to rely on our defense and rebounding and make timely plays on the offensive side was tremendous.
Let's start with questions for Liza. Go ahead in the front.
Hi, Liza. Brad Lake from WNBA Swish. With both teams going back and forth, what were you and your teammates like huddling about, you know, telling each other as you are just trying to pull, you know, out and pull ahead?
Yeah. I think we kept using the word composure in the huddles a little bit. Like Coach said, we played Villanova twice this year, very close both times. So we've been in these situations before. Everyone on the court was very familiar with, you know, what that game was about. So just keeping our heads on, being very tactical with kind of what the refs are calling, how they're scoring, and like I said, staying composed as much as possible.
Hi, Liza. Raquel Ruiz from Marquette Wire. So going into those final 5 seconds of the game, you know, Olsen had the ball. Where was your head at, especially on the court, like being those last 5 seconds? What were you thinking? What was your game plan?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone on the court knew what Villanova was going to do in terms of who they were going to go to. And it's hard because when you're not in the action and you know what's going to happen, like you just kind of hope that your teammates are on their game, which they were, and then box out. So, I mean, I kind of had to just hope that, you know, Rose Nkuma and Jordan King had my back on that. So, and they did, and they pulled through. So, yeah.
Hey, Liza. Corey John with Craytonian. A lot of the game you played double big, especially with Skylar. How was it being able to play off her today for so much of that runtime?
Yeah, I mean, Skylar Forbes has worked so hard this whole year to get to the point where she's at right now, and I'm super proud to have her as a teammate this year, and she's huge for us just as another big inside presence. I mean, being able to kind of lob passes up to her, she comes down with them every single time. Just that presence defensively inside, she gets a lot of blocks for us, and obviously you saw how big she was on the boards. I mean, that's huge to have another big in there, having your back on things like that.
Eliza T. Baker with the next. Congrats on a great season and being named to the All Big East team.
Thank you.
You've gotten attention all year in the Big East honor roll nationally. I'm just curious kind of how you felt your game has improved and what you're proud of this season and from your play.
I think that I try to pride myself on being very steady, and my teammates are a huge, huge piece of that. You know, through the ups and downs, you miss shots, you make shots. I've never really worried about it because I know my teammates have my back at the end of the day. This year, I've tried to come into every single game with the same mentality and the same energy, and that's helped me a lot regardless of how many points I score. So I think that's what I'm most proud about for this year.
Liza, obviously every player loves to score, but how do you keep your head in the game when, you know, you guys shot 33%?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I've always approached it as I can't control the ball going in or not. I can control how confident I am shooting the shots and what my shot selection is. So I work a lot with, you know, Coach Duffy and my assistant Coach Jay of what shots are good shots and what shots to hunt. And what shots might not be, you know, the best shots for me to take. So I think going back to that, not necessarily focusing on if the ball goes in or not, and just focusing on what I can control when it comes to shot taking.
Any other questions for Liza? All right, Liza, thank you very much.
Thanks.
I'll let you get back to the locker room. Questions for Coach? Go ahead.
Hi, Coach. This being the third time that you've played them, Did you see anything differently from them, offense or defense, that you didn't see from them in the first 2 games?
Well, I think both sides are trying to probably make small adjustments. We had some new things in, and I thought Denise did a great job of trying to, counter what we were doing defensively, whether that was, slipping a screen or curling them. They have so much movement in their 5-out, and as soon as you make a mistake, they can take advantage of it. I think one of the keys was, Olsen got off to a really hot start right off the bat, and then we settled down and just, kept talking about what we were trying to do to make it difficult, which was good for us as the game went on. She's such a tremendous player. So I think you spend the week actually trying to simplify things when you especially when you've lost 2. You can overthink it, and you can focus on a detail that happened back in January, and it doesn't matter when you play in March. So that was one thing, staff down through the players, we really said this has to be won with our defense and rebounding. We actually talked kind of funny about our effort, just how our effort had to be a little bit better than it was when we played in Milwaukee and then out in Philly. And I thought, with simple things like that, like your effort to go chase down a rebound, your mentality if you don't like a call, whatever it is, just to stay really, really focused on that. And I think that might have been the difference of just getting that little bit extra, as silly as it sounds in March. We all want to win and play as hard as we can, but I thought the team was just tremendous with staying in that fight. Knowing this wasn't, we knew coming in this was not going to be some team's going to win by a lot, or it's not happening with this matchup. So.
Hey, Coach T. Baker with the next. Your program chose to honor Alasia Blockton. I think she graduated just before you came on campus, but curious if you have any insights on why she was chosen and kind of what she's meant for the program.
Our all-time leading scorer, Aya Blockton, has been tremendous. I've gotten to know her a little bit. Never got to coach her. She graduated when I came in my first year, but we actually probably needed her to score a little bit out there for us. She could get a bucket. She was a walking bucket. So I think it's a tremendous thing the Big East is doing to honor some of our legends. She's still a young legend because she's, not too far removed, but just somebody that brought so much excitement to Marquette basketball and, put from the national scene on the map a little bit more. And just great that she had the opportunity this morning to get recognized and be there behind our bench to watch our team play. And so very exciting just for her and then all the legends.
Coach, you mentioned how close the first 2 Villanova matchups are, but you've been playing close matchups ever since Illinois way back in week 1. How do you think all those close games prepared you for these big moments in March?
Yeah, we try and rely on our veterans. When you got somebody like Jordan King, who's been here for 5 years, and, Claire Kafis that came in, and then, Liza to my left, we try and learn from our mistakes, keep the standard. I've talked so much about that because you can get so focused on 1 or 2 possessions in a game, and I just, sometimes it's not about that. It's about keeping those standards really high of Marquette basketball and figuring out ways to win. And I just think we were very loose with that today from let's not overthink or analyze every little thing. Let's just make sure we're solid and we can live with whatever happens. And, matchups in the league are interesting. Some teams that play real close, then you blow out another. It sometimes this year hasn't made a lot of sense. We were all tied for 3rd and we end up with the 5th. There's a lot of things that don't match up, but what I do know, we're one of the best teams in the country, and hopefully we'll get to show that tomorrow against Connecticut and then beyond in the NCAA tournament. And I'm proud of the experience we've taken from those past games, and maybe all those really I think other than the 2 Connecticut games, every game we've lost has been 5 or 6 or less points. So at some point you got to learn something, right? Either way, and maybe that was the turning point for us today.
Right here.
And speaking about the big game tomorrow, what are you going to be telling the team as you go into it, the practices, like before the game, like what's their mentality going to be like?
Yeah, there's not a lot of practice, so it's about rest and fueling, and we're obviously got not as many fans as them tomorrow, so we'll try. We got nothing to lose, take the pressure off of us and try and have some fun. I thought we played some good basketball in the 2 matchups, but as we know with UConn, they can make runs so fast, so we'll have to really make sure we're connected on that we don't let it get out of hand. And stay solid. But yeah, at this point, you don't have a lot of prep time. You got to, kind of turn the page quickly after this one and, enjoy this March Madness and the moment of being in the semis. It's really cool just to watch our team put that Marquette on the bracket and know you're playing UConn. Like, those are the memories I'm watching these kids have, and you kind of have a little bit of chills from just back in the day of, when you were a player, of just like, God, this is what it's all about. It's not the missed layup, it's not the free throw you make, it's watching them jump up and down and just be excited to have another day to play.
Meg, is that with regard to that game tomorrow? Like, you had a close game today. UConn had an emotional game. Aaliyah got injured. How do you approach that, like turning the page so quickly? Is there like a method to your madness that you maybe learned as a player? Or?
Yeah, I just think you just stay steady, and like I said, it's pretty simple. You get a shower and some food, and you work on the scout a little bit, and I think you hit it on the head. You emotionally have to come back down. Whether it's UConn's game or our game, you just kind of have to settle yourself back down. As you play multiple games, through the week, like physically, you're not going to get any fresher or feel any better that way. It's the opposite. So mentally, just focused on the game plan and keeping it simple that way.
In the back.
So tomorrow's game, it's going to be a deja vu of last season playing UConn, falling to them in the semifinals. Last year, UConn scored 16 points off your 17 turnovers. Today, you had 17 turnovers on the game. How do you try to rearrange that? How do you try to come off of those 17 turnovers, turn it around for tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think about last year as a whole different team and season, as they are a very, very different team too. Anything when you play them, points off for turnovers are so important. Whether you, and I don't know, it's not necessarily like a number. If you have this many and there's a recipe for success, it's about the runs. It's about how they can, quickly score off an easy basket. So taking care of the ball is always something, we talk about, and it's even more important on their kind of home floor with their crowd, because this crowd can get into it pretty quickly. So it's more not the number, but just the mentality of let's clean it up a little bit. And we had some sloppy moments today, the physicality and all that, but we'll watch those a little bit and just remind our team, what makes good basketball, and it's taking care of the ball.
Any other questions? Coach, thank you. Congrats.
Thank you, guys.